All right, let's start. I'm already seeing some uh, recognizable faces here. Betty, El Yassin. I don't see Rainer here, so if anyone's been has been talking with him, just ping him because he's always with us. But yeah, Jorge, thanks again for coming in. And why don't you start presenting yourself? I'm just gonna give a brief context to everyone. So basically, this AMA is only for the OGs and the big brains, so it's not available for everyone, which is it's great to see uh, a few people here, more than 25 people. That's cool from the OGs and big brains. It's a more technical conversation, so we will be getting um, into Jorge's background in finance, trading, and mainly crypto, like understanding how is he his day to day and how does he trade and what he would like to see on Zaros, what he likes on other platforms that we could get inspired on and so on, like and whatnot. So Jorge, please go ahead. I can't hear you. I don't know if you guys can hear Jorge.
Can you hear me now? Nice, nice. So you guys can hear me. Okay. I'm changing it here to the headset and we should happen. Let's go.
Sorry, I was muted. I just started to listen to you. I don't know what's going on, but can you just present yourself again, please?
So my name is George. I've been I know Bitcoin since 2013, but I only started to invest in Bitcoin in 2015. Um, I worked for banks in Brazilian and also foreign banks, investment banking and corporate banking for more than 10 years. In 2021, I left my 9 to 5 banking job uh, to trade my money. But then a friend of mine who was the CEO and founder of a trading platform for Brazilian investors and speculators asked me to join the team to build the the crypto product with my partner Bogosian. And since then, we had our company was acquired by TC, which is this trading platform. And more recently, beginning this year, we I became the portfolio manager of a local regulated a crypto fund called TC Digital Assets. And glad to be here. I'm also an angel investor in Zaros. So thank you guys for the time, and it'll be fun to go through any questions and some trading stories and so forth.
Yeah. I'm betting that almost everyone is looking forward to hear your trading stories, and that's one of the questions that I'm going to ask you. But I think that a good question to start is like, what made you like to turn like the key in terms of leaving traditional finance and starting to work full time in crypto, and also not only starting to work full time in crypto, but also investing. Like, what was your thinking when you decided to invest in Bitcoin and also uh, everything else? Like, how did it
So
change your mind?
this is a funny story. I started trading when I was like 19 years old, something like this. Just after I got in university, I studied economics, so was like natural Brazil. There was a bull run going on, the end of the bull run, but it was like 2008, seven actually. And so I always like trading. I always thought that was a really good way to, be more effective in terms of wealth build up. But I did only obviously traditional markets until 2000 and end of 2013. I was working at a bank, Merrill Lynch, and I left my job in December. And I was, going through, like, at the time there were a lot of news pieces about Silk Road and dark web. So I was always curious about new stuff. So I just logged in on the on with Tor on the website. And while I was looking all the stuff, the drugs and the guns and all this that shit, I noticed that everyone was selling their illegal stuff using Bitcoin. And I studied economics, so I said to myself, and also I always like game theory. I said, come on, something's wrong. These guys are selling like drugs, so the risk is, yeah, probably one of the highest possible that a person can bear. And how they're selling this stuff uh, for a currency that they don't know that will retain value. So this made me, go into the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, and I was clear to me, and I think because of my background in economics and also a book that molded my way of thinking about gold was Ascension of Money from Niall Ferguson. So I bring those two together and said, no, this, I understood that for me, that it was really clear that due to the supply of Bitcoin and the difficulty adjustment, it should just go up forever. But you need demand for that. I didn't invest at that point in time because I just left my job. I didn't know when I would work again, and I wasn't sure if the demand would be there. So I just waited. When I saw after December 2013, Bitcoin fell like to I think it was like 90%, something like this. And I said to myself, no, this is dead now. Never gonna come back. And then a couple of years later, in 2015, it was back at the price that I first looked at. So I said to myself, if this these assets can come back from the dead like this, which is something that I never saw before, I think I just thought, no, this is gonna just go up forever, and I need to be in. So then I started basically on BTC. 2017, I was able to basically get the top, but then 2018 and 19 were really, really bad. I was able to, do well, but not as well as I would like. And, at that point in time, the market wasn't, in my opinion, too mature enough for me to leave my job. So in 2021, in 2020, I did like a monster trade. And in 2021, I just said to myself, this is what I like. I think there are outsized returns on this asset class, and I understand this much better than I did in 2017 and much more broadly. So I think now's the time, and I I don't regret at all. I think it was one of the best choices in my professional career, for sure. So quite big story over there, but give the context.
Yeah, that's great. Do you mind like sharing what asset were you trading in that monster trade that you mentioned, or
So
confidential?
that's another story. Basically, I was bullish after the run up in 2019, but then the market was just fading, fading, fading. I was just waiting. And one thing that I always look for is when implied volatilities in options are low. So we had like the the COVID crash, I lost like a couple, BTC. I wasn't leveraged at all. It was like 1.5x, but the dip on Bitfinex was so aggressive that I got was the first time that I got liquidated actually, but it wasn't something that would cripple me. And then when I saw the price come back very fast, and a couple of that I also follow macroeconomics a lot, and I think due to my background. And when I saw that the central banks they were like pumping cash and governments were doing fiscal stimulus like crazy, I said no. If Bitcoin doesn't run under these circumstances, it will never run. It will be a failed experiment, and we just should move on. Uh, so since I had this thesis, I just loaded up like basically everything on 20K options, which was out of the money. We were at around, I think, 6 or 7K, something like this. And then shit just ran like crazy in from 7 to 10 something, 15 something. Then I rolled over to a higher strike to set 60K and a couple months down the road. And then it just kept running, kept running, kept running. And, it was like the best trade I did in my life for sure. So that's the story behind it. And when I closed the position, I said, okay, time to leave the bank.
No, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't remember you telling me that story when we met in person, so that's pretty cool, pretty good to know. And I think that one thing that probably is related to it, and probably most of the people that are part of our community today uh, are looking for something like that is like, did you decide that all on your own, or at the time you were part of trading community, you were trading with friends? I'm gonna mention some of the friends that I already know you trade with, or that I already know you talk to about this. So do you want to say anything about it? Like, did you happen to participate on communities? Was it on
Um,
Discord? Was it on Telegram? How was it?
Actually, at that point in time, since I had a 9 to 5 job, it took basically I did crypto basically in my spare time. So I was in some communities, but those were old ones, the only corpses on those chats because most of them were just like or buying every dip between 2017 and 2020, or in 2020 they were just selling like crazy, shorting like crazy because they thought that market will never recover. So I had a few people. This specific trade I came by just by myself because I think my background helped me a lot. But one thing that I think changed a lot going forward. After I just focused 100% in crypto was building some friendships. Many of many of these guys I don't know in person, but crypto allows you to be able to explore that. I think we met through similar circumstances. You met with Alex Kruger, which is a guy that I never met in person, but we are quite close friends actually, and other people. So since then, this market it's so big and there's so much happening that you can't handle everything by yourself. So, for example, for me to expand, I was really aware of the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and basically DeFi. Those were my bread and butter. But when you try to expand to more stuff, need to research more, you need to be in community. So that's why I run a community, um, and I am in several communities because I think it helps a lot, to filter stuff and also to find early stuff. And one thing that crypto has that basically no other market has, at least for the retail user, is you can is the only asset class in Earth that you can be early, like early for real, not early after the asset has fallen like 90%. But you can get stuff pretty early, stuff that gonna pump, and probably you can get some airdrops. So I think it's basically one of the few asset classes on earth that that enables you to make like life-changing money. So you know, but to cover all, you need to know where to look and who to talk. One thing that helped me a lot back in the day was that I was really good in filtering my Twitter. So um, I have like a notification list that, I take people out, I add people out, take projects out, add projects in, and it helped me a lot, to filter because I do other stuff during my day, so my time is limited, and I need, to be like efficient in terms of the time spent that I spent on Twitter. So it also helped me a lot, and at the bank was the same since I did had the job, day job.
Cool. Yeah. One thing that got through my mind while you were telling the story is like two things. Because of your background in economics, like how do you determine or how do you realize it's a community or an influencer or I don't know a person that it's worth talking to and listening to in terms of like how he analyzes the market. And attached to that question, um, since you already have that background, what do you think is worth paying attention in the market to the next month? Like, what do you think it's not exactly what do you think is going to happen, but what are you paying attention to and why? What are the moves are you expecting to make in the next months?
So I think another thing that helped me a lot uh, was my background in working in like big corporations. So and also working with clients. Since early on, I have a keen, to know when people are clever for real or they're full of shit. Because when you handle like hundreds of clients, they're always the guy with the ego that tries to portray himself as like a genius, and you know you can find you can find out that he's stupid actually. He's just posing, LARPing. So it helped me when I just read stuff on Twitter. One thing that I did also a lot was just cold DM some guys that wanted to discuss some sort of trade or idea or actually ask something about their rationale. And in crypto, just people just reply to you. It's amazing, like guys that run like huge hedge funds, really big brains, you can just reach out to them and they just reply to you and all good. So that it's like a soft skill that I have, by speaking sometime with the person I know that if it's available for my network or not. And but obviously I don't only speak to people because I want to have a relationship, crypto relationship. So it's like things apply, you know. Um, In terms of what we are seeing, what I am seeing for the next couple of months, I think it's pretty clear in my mind that the bull market has started. I think the ETF news, the application part is partially priced, but one thing that I think the market isn't pricing well is the flows. Um, I see most of people on Twitter saying, "Oh no, the Bitcoin to ETF, there will be flows, but will be very weak. Will be like 500 million first year, so some like random numbers um, that I don't think makes sense. And why I think doesn't make sense. We have 8 or 9 uh, applications for the ETF. Some of those are from BlackRock, Fidelity, Invesco, ARC, Bitwise. We're talking like big boys here. The BlackRock, Fidelity, these guys, they have like massive AUM. Between BlackRock, Fidelity, and Invesco, I think we have like 20 billion or 18 billion, trillion, sorry, 20 trillion to 18 trillion dollars in assets under management. And the ETF game, you can check everywhere. It's a winner takes all. The second guy, the second bigger ETF, when you look at gold or oil, it's they trade like one third and have like one third and one fourth of the biggest one, and has one third or one fourth of the AUM. So why does it matter? It matters because I, I think SEC will approve everyone at the same time because they don't want to be a kingmaker. They already shown this card in the past with the ETF futures, the ETH futures, and there will be like a run from these issuers to just put as much AUM from their clients as possible, the fast as fast as possible, so they can reach the escape velocity and be the biggest player in the room. Uh, and one thing that reinforced that viewing with me was that when Larry Fink went to on 20, when CNBC and talking about BTC being a flight to quality, he was basically pitching for all investors that they should have a bit of BTC on the portfolio. So if these guys just sell 1% of BTC to their base, to the base of clients, it's like a massive. It's absurd. Galaxy did ran some numbers, which I think makes sense. So I think that's a big thing that will is that's not priced in yet. Another thing that on the macro side that I think is very important is we reached the final stage of the monetary tightening by the increased interest rates by the major development banks and development governments. And now we are entering a phase that they will need to support the economy because the economy will be in shaky position and will be in U.S. specifically on a election year. So I highly doubt that Fed will just keep hammering the economy like crazy without with a election nearby. So those two factors, I think, are good build-ups for crypto specifically, and also risk markets overall. And but I think it will be a bumpy road. My current target for BTC is around between 40K to 45K. I don't think we'll just go up without stop until reaching, for example, the all-time high. Very hard for this to happen, and I don't think that we have like too much crazy stuff on the macro side to support that.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been talking to some people, and some agree with you. Like some are saying similar things to you, and some I won't be able to explain why they believe that, but they've been saying like, yeah, I think it will pump a little bit because of the ETF, but then it will go down a little bit again, and then after the Bitcoin halving, it will start to the true bull market. It will start then. So it's
I
yeah.
think
Please go ahead.
yeah, I think it's because there's a time frame thing here. Um, when it's approved, I'm sure that it will run. On the week or month that we have it start trading, we'll probably have some sort of dip because people don't think at all that the product will have like massive flows. When they start seeing that the flows are massive, then we can see the market recovery. That the big case, but this kind of stuff they always change. and also the market will start to price ETH in better terms because after we have the BTC spot ETF, for sure, SEC will approve the Bitcoin, the ETH spot ETF. So markets are always forward looking, so they will just you know change their views to the ETH trade, while obviously BTC can go up, but probably won't outperform a lot the market because when it's clear that the approval will come, market will just rush to price a lot of the potential run that we'll see due to these events.
Cool. And like, how do you decide, or what are you picking? Like, are you trading for the next pump you're expecting? Are you trading mostly with options and or futures or spot trading? Like,
Um, I always trade futures. I think it's for me it's important to keep me in my feet. I have some options positions for for December and mid next year because you know implied volatilities were like 30. The vol was 30. It's like, dude, you are not trading equities. Equities had more volatility, single names than the vol. So it was really mispriced. So I took advantage of that. Um, should have gotten bigger. So I know I have this regret, but the trades, it's okay, it's doing well.
mm,
And also, since we are at the beginning of a bull market, I think there are really nice opportunities on the small cap uh, tokens in this market. There's a lot of quality stuff going on that basically uh, many don't pay attention and is not priced in yet. At some point, it will be. But I think we are early enough that you can scoop some good stuff. You need to obviously to do some research on it. Check the teams, um, poke around to find if something is off. But there's a lot of stuff that I think has like multiples of return on the table to make, um, that are quite cheap right now, and the attention of the market isn't um, focusing on this stuff, at least for now. Will be in the future because now the big trade are BTC, ETH, and majors, or some specific sectors like AI is doing pretty well. But there's also the DeFi, for example, is in good shape, but I think there's a lot of stuff that should be priced much higher than is currently. So it's a mix of many stuff. I don't do one thing. I also do, as I mentioned, some pre-seed and seed deals. You guys were one of them, and I probably will do some more and before year end, and then I would just stop because then the time frame of the vestings start to get too far away in the future, and then you might have issues if the market starts to have a downturn.
yeah, makes sense. One thing that I remember, I recall from Token 2049 in Singapore. By the way, that's where I met Alex Kruger, your friend, and I think a lot of people from the community might know him because he's a well-known trader. Maybe we can get him to do an AMA with us in the future. Let's try. But
Just
what I was gonna mention
invite
is,
him, invite him. The guy, he's very friendly. You met him in
yeah, I
person.
will, I will.
If you invite him, for sure he will find some time to make it.
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing that I wanted to mention is in Token 2049, I went to the Arthur Hayes speech, and the narrative he was most bullish about wasn't AI, was data storage. So he was filling file points, which was pretty funny
Yeah,
because he was probably holding the bags, and it pumped like, I don't know, 20, 30% after his speech. So that was funny. And I want to get your views. Like, what do you think about not necessarily a file coin, but like data storage tokens?
So the thing is,
And
if you're chasing,
just before you answer, sorry. Uh, I think that the it's good to add this because you mentioned AI, and he started his speech talking about AI and asking everyone, what do we feed AI? What powers AI? Because everyone has been investing in AI. It's getting kind of obvious, let's say. Uh, and he was bullish on data storage because that's basically what's going to stop AI from evolving if it doesn't get bigger. Like AI will need a lot more data storage from now. And in terms of token, Filecoin makes a lot of sense for him. So that's why he was bullish on Filecoin, and that's why he understand he understand he sees it as a way of catching the AI pump by investing on what feeds AI. So data storage. But yeah, please go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
yeah, no problem. I think that this makes sense because, but it's a one possible play within a much bigger universe. If you think about AI, everything that has AI in the name will run probably yes for some time, but at some point, the market will start to be selective on stuff that has, really good fundamentals behind it. Um, I'm a very big guy in terms of infrastructure. I think it's something that the market has a really it's difficult to price because every project has its own minor details, and it's hard for you to just put everything in one specific framework. So I always like infrastructure. I have some exposure in some names. um, in data storage specifically, I don't have anymore, but I had a good position in Arweave. I thought was the economics of the platform was better than Filecoin. Filecoin is usage is obviously much higher, and they did some stuff recently that probably will keep usage high. And indeed, I think he's right. It's a piece of its infrastructure that is essential if you want decentralized world. As other stuff like relays with Pocket Network, um, um, the indexing, the graph is another one. Chainlink with oracles
Yes, Chainlink.
and yes, I'm a big fan of Chainlink. I think it will be one of the big boys this next run. Um, so infrastructure is hard to price, but it's an essential piece for several, not only AI specifically, but several projects. And in my view, it's inevitable that the usage will increase. Um, I have a little bit of doubts in terms of the economics of Filecoin, but as time passes, then they just keeping having everyone incentivized, and they have until now they have been doing this pretty well. I think it can be a nice name. I myself, I think I will just I prefer to since I think that we have the bull market is starting right now. I just got the frontline names in terms of return. I think will be better because it's easier to catch the attention of the market, and returns basically in crypto they come out attention from the markets. While the infrastructure part I think makes sense, but it might take longer to provide outsized returns than if you have the frontline names. I might be mid-curving this, but until now, my AI plays have performed better than Filecoin, for example, or Arweave. Arweave, just ran. like crazy recently, but
Yeah,
it still has a lot to go.
yeah. That's cool. That's cool. One thing that I wanted to ask before we start sharing a few of the questions on the chat is like, for example, this analogy that we're talking about is not exactly easy to understand these narratives and like to get to this point. So where do you usually study and get like insights on narratives and the whole macroeconomics, as you mentioned before? For example, we just partner up with Revelo Intel, which is a, a little bit younger than Masari, for example, or Zero X Research. But they create like really technical and comprehensive reports and breakdowns about new projects, about new narratives, about new opportunities, and that's something that we are sharing. Of course, there are all paid um, breakdowns and articles, and we are sharing that with all the OG and the big brain members from Zaros. But where do you usually go after these informations?
You know, several sources. As I mentioned, this market is quite big, and some stuff is really complex. So you need, or you dedicate a lot of time doing your own thing, or if you want to be as broad as possible, you need to feed from. You do your own thing, obviously, but you need to feed from other people and be, But the thing is, you need to be aware that many of um, people from Twitter and so forth, they might have some sort of backroom deal for to promote. So when I see that something like this is happening, I just I just don't follow the person, or I just you know don't pay attention. I like the guys from Delphi a lot, um, and just Twitter is where I get a lot of information on really early stuff. There are some groups that I mean that people just I don't know how they do it, but they just find stuff really early and quality stuff. I think you need to go to check many sources. I like podcasts also, but when they reach like a big podcast, probably it's at the end of the narrative cycle. One thing that I think it's very very important is when you see a narrative that is everyone is talking about, probably is in your DM. Even more if you start to see several projects launching uh, every week, like two, three, uh, like clones of that specific narrative. We saw this a lot. For example, we had the DEX narrative, and everyone spinning up a DEX in a new chain. We had like landing. We had NFTs, also copying each other. We had the um, Zeus Olympus DAO, which was crazy because it was obviously at some point it was near to the end, and people kept piling in all chains in this stuff. So
It was a scheme, right?
yeah, the guys actually the DAO they delivered what they said they would do, like build a really big treasury, but the token just died. You know,
Yeah.
became like today. I think makes more sense than buying today than when the APY was like massive, obviously, because now they at least have the treasury and they can work it. Um, but um, you know, this is key. Look for stuff that people aren't talking yet, but be aware that if it doesn't become a narrative, you might you know get some good returns, but won't be like outsized returns. This is key. If you have some people that you think are big brains, and they just um, have can find stuff early that runs a little bit further in the future, have a good track record. Try to run the ideas with them, from more than one people. Yeah, it also helps me a lot because sometimes I have a thesis in my mind, but then someone just points out that there's a flaw over here or something can go wrong. No, if specific scenario happens, then it just keeps you in your feet and brings new views to a potential thesis that you have, and might save you a lot of money also.
Yeah, great. Yeah, before we go on and we get to a few questions from the audience, I want to share the AMA password for whoever wants to get in front of everyone in the next in the current Zilly sprint. So the password for the test that Nick or the mods will create as soon as we end the AMA is bull from Bull Run. So yeah, this is the password. Let me share it in the chat. Bull. Yeah. Okay. So there are a few questions here. I'm gonna get back to the beginning.
Oh,
Uh, Noctemble. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah. What tips would you give to traders who are just starting their journeys in the futures market? Like, what would be your three main tips for the first futures trade?
I think that what I see a lot happen is people just start trading futures, thinking that it's just playing with spots, and
Yeah.
it is not. If you're trading futures, you need to read the contract specifications. You need to understand how rates work, the arbitrage between funding rates and futures, the arbitrage between exchanges. You need to monitor at least Binance, Bybit, and OKX and Coinbase in terms of what they're doing, and Bitfinex also. So it's not as easy as it sounds. When we are in a full-fledged bull run, it's easier. You can just long everything with leverage and buckets. And I think the best advice that I give is get like $100, $1,000, something that won't hurt you. Just try to play with this money with not that much leverage, so you get used to what happened. There's a platform that I'm an investor also. Probably you guys heard it on Twitter is Velo Data, and they provide like really good quality uh, um, data for several stuff, but mainly for futures and options markets. So it can help you, to track all the change in open interest, funding rates, um, CVD, which basically shows who is which side of this is a taker, is someone selling aggressively or buying aggressive. So you need to learn a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff you can find on Twitter, but Cred is a good guy in terms of materials for trading, but some portion of your journey in derivatives, uh, you get only learning and having some losses. It's like you need in markets. My experience says that you need these cars. These cars are important to keep you on your feet.
That's awesome. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry. Had someone here at the door. That's pretty cool. Sharing your this valid data. I didn't know about the project, so I will take a look at it and already share
I will share
the
here
website.
the I will share on the chat the I have
Yeah, yeah.
a ref link, but
Oh, that's
the
great. That's great.
but no, I don't think that will come to nothing. They just here it is.
Yeah, thanks. Um, that's great. Let me check a few other questions here. Um, I think Eliassine asked, which pairs did you trade the most? Probably Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? But uh, which pa-
Um, I
which which pairs?
one that I look, I keep track really close is ETH BTC. Now, when we hit like near 0.05, I changed some of my BTC positions to ETH because at these levels we can get a week below that, but I think is a very compelling level for changing positions. Um, I another one that I track a lot is optimism with Arbitrum. Is one that from time to time gives good trades. Um, it depends on the narrative. Sometimes you have, for example, you have a pair trade that is link against Solana. I'm just throwing two names here. But I think what one the key thing is you need to always track each BTC because it's a good, if you get the each BTC chart and cross it with the BTC and ETH charts in the markets, the total markets, excluding BTC and ETH, you can get really good insights. So just, check it out. I think, but only just by looking at the patterns, you can find some good alpha there.
That's awesome. That's I think probably the best tip for like how to do your next trade. So thanks. That's great. If you want to share anything about it in the chat, like a link that explains it further, please do. Um, there are a few other questions. Poo
I
Poo,
saw
one of
one
our
here. I saw
what?
one here. Do you trade NFTs?
Yeah,
Um,
that's exactly what I was gonna mention because Poo Poo recognized your Bitcoin frog. So,
yeah.
like, what's your insights on ordinals and do you trade NFTs? Just hold some.
Well, to be true, I don't trade a lot NFTs. I do have exposure to, some collections. The one that I'm by far is my biggest, and the one that also provided the best returns for me was were the prime, the parallel cards. I think I still like them a lot. Every time that they have new cards coming to the market, I just buy. Um, I think that the game is amazing. Probably will be the first, triple A game, them and Shrapnel that will make like, with big splash when they launch 100%. Those are the ones that I like most in terms of my NFTs. And I also have some PFPs. I have the Saudis because I always found it was funny the guy saying that Saudis were buying BTC, which I think might be happening, but I just thought was funny. I bought one, and I like the Bitcoin frogs because first of all, um, I like despite ETH being I think ETH can reach a market cap higher than BTC at some point. I think the properties of BTC are just amazing. Um, so when I saw the ordinals, I said, no, this can be on a hot market. This can be something that can make just multiples. And Bitcoin Frogs was one of the OG ordinals, at least no, not OG, but one of the most traded collections. And the best ones are the ones that have the golden glasses. So I got one, and this guy is just chilling, like he's in suits, smoking cigarettes with his golden glasses. So I just identified with the dude. So I just acquired this one. I think ordinals. Um, will be a hot topic down the road when the market is stronger. We are like in full-fledged bull. I think there are some good opportunities there. I'm not following that close. I have some frogs, but that's it. But the idea, I think, makes sense. And I think last week, Elon Musk said that he thought it made sense to have on chain, 100% on chain. NFTs, which ordinals are. So products, for example, doubled in that they came from like before was like 0.03 BTC to went like to 0.06. So imagine if this narrative just catches up.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Awesome. Um, One other question here was from DeFi Lab, like how to avoid being liquidated. That's a good question on futures trading, of course.
Okay, don't use leverage. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Um, First of all, now for you, just don't do like 50 times leverage, 25 times leverage, 100 times leverage. You're gonna be liquidated. Some tips that I always give to people is first, use isolated margin because if possible, if your platform has or isolated margin, it's better because you are only risking that specific amount, and if you go cross margin and you forget, for example, to put a stop on your position, you can get liquidated on the whole account. So the
Yeah.
risk is just too high. So usually isolated margin when possible. Don't use too much leverage. And if you can't have isolated margin, just do create a sub account, deposit some stuff there, and if you want to play with more leverage, use the sub account. Another option that I think makes sense is using options. Never sell
To
options
hide the position.
because you're gonna go broke. Essentially, you're gonna go broke if you keep selling. You need to be like really professional. I met another dude with Marty, thinking Vols. The guy's like a professional. So he sold Vol for like 1 year. Was like he stole my money at some point in time. So it was a really good trade. But if you buy calls and puts, um, you don't get you can't be liquidated because how the instrument works doesn't allow. You just risk what you have when you buy the option, and just watch out for the volatility. Shouldn't be too high. If you are seeing like 70, 65, 70, 80, 80 implied volatilities, just avoid using it for long periods of time. You can use for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but if you go longer, you're gonna probably get wrecked.
Uh, Two things. Like, first, this thinking Vol guy is living in Brazil, right?
Yeah, he lives in Rio. He was here this
Yeah, yeah,
weekend
yeah.
for the F1 and UFC.
That's awesome. Yeah, Pedro knows him. We were actually talking to him like a few weeks ago. So let's get. I'm gonna get back to it. And the
Yeah,
second thing that I
clever guy.
wanted to ask, what?
No, I said clever guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Um, the other thing that I wanted to ask is like, okay, so being more specific for a newbie trader, as DeFi Lab called himself, like, what's the maximum amount like of leverage you would recommend? Like 5 times, 2 times, how long?
Maximum, like maximum. If you're like, you are on crack, 5x. Ideally,
Okay,
you should trade like with 2, 3x the most, two the best, below two even better. But understand that if you have a small stack, it's harder to play with 2x leverage.
yeah, because if you're using the amount that you, for example, advise, like I don't know, $1,000, it's already like a little bit frustrating to only use 1.5 leverage, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know,
So
maybe people need to be
what
more patient.
yeah, that's the problem. Patience in markets are, you know, it's a very important skill, very important skill, which, but in crypto, we are conditioned to not be patient because we see someone making like 100x, 20x, and
Yeah,
says, oh, I need to do it
yeah,
now. If you have a small stack, I think by far, the best strategy is look for, you know, uh, tokens, that small cap tokens that have good um, fundamentals. Just buy two, three, five of them, and just wait a bit because when those run, they just do multiples, and after you have like your like home run, then you can you just get some money and play small at the first, but learns how to play the derivatives game, and then you
Yeah.
can level up.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I personally know uh friends of friends and close people that did like I don't know, they invested $10,000 and got let me convert that around $4 million out of it just doing exactly what you said. Like
Yeah,
picking a really good altcoin that they believe that it made sense at the right timing before a bull run and it worked. So
yeah,
that's
it's the easiest
something.
one, by far the easiest one. But it
Yeah.
also you need to be patient because you hardly it will run like 1 2 days or 1 week after you built the
Oh
position.
yeah, for sure. It took like months. So that's you gotta really believe it.
Exactly.
DeFi Lab asked another question about which time frame he should use to analyze like the the charts for trading his first futures.
I like the most the 5 minutes, 1 hour, and daily. When I
Five
go to
minutes, 1 hour
daily,
on daily.
yeah, when I go to daily, usually is a longer position, but 5 minutes and 1 hour, I think they are key to have a grasp of what's going on. Because sometimes you have a really strong move on the 5 minutes, but when you check 1 hour is like just recovering from a correction or something like this. So you need to be aware of that.
But that's for a position that you don't want to maintain open for too long, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you wanna like have a this is not a trade. If you wanna you're investing doing swing trade, you need to go one day and weekly to you know but you probably don't need to risk too much in terms of
Okay.
capital because you don't need to use too much leverage because at the end of the day, if you start a run on a daily, weekly time frame, probably will do like several 200, 300%. So it's more like investing than trading. If you are talking about trading, then you're talking like low time frames.
Yeah, cool insights. There are some people here from the Illuvian community asking why parallel? Why not Illuvian?
um I think I just think that the team on parallel is like they always do the right stuff. When they have choices in front of them, they always do the right thing. The tokenomics of the is like really good. The guys know how to leverage the token. It is the best model in gaming that I know of. I don't know all the games, obviously, so I just, thought that was and they're always thinking ahead and in the future. So I just think it's if you do some research, I think you agree with me. But everyone can say that one specific is better than the other. It's like a personal decision. For me, it just works in
Yeah.
terms of what it is.
Just admit you lost the timing with the ILV token. Yeah.
Yeah, might be, the parallel I was really early, so no, probably it
Yeah.
plays in the in your mind.
Sorry, what? I think it cut your voice.
No, as I said that I was really early in parallel, so it helps to build the you know
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
the conviction in your mind.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I know
Guys,
some of the people that are here are
I
like
need
early
to
investors at the ILV token. So, oh yeah, I think it's already past 11. So
yeah,
let
I
me
have a
just check if
call.
that's.
Let's go do
Yeah.
one last question. Then I need to go because I have a call here with
Okay. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
team.
Sorry. Let me check. Okay, that's. Uh, I think that the best question here that it's related to trading is since you've been trading probably for longer than most of the people in this call, what advice would you give them about controlling your emotions during trading sessions? Because that might sound like easy, but it's not. It's probably one of the hardest things.
No,
So,
no,
what advice would
it's by far the hardest one, by far.
exactly? What
You
advice would you
know,
give on that?
um, lose money. I think that's the best advice I can give you. I think some lessons you only, absorb in your mind after you have losses, you have some traumatic events. Traumatic. I'm just being hyperbolic here, not traumatic in terms of I'm gonna kill myself. But when you see when everything's okay, you basically don't learn. You just say, you just go with the flow. When things go wrong, you need to reflect on what you did wrong and why you did wrong, so you can understand your thought process and adapt. One thing that I think is key for everyone, not just in trading but in life, is we need to adapt and be mindful of your actions and the consequences and what you should have done if you did everything perfect. Be mindful so you can correct bad behaviors and stuff like that on a you know on a daily um, on a daily basis. You probably won't feel much change, but as time goes by, you know um, you will see some changes. I, for example, when I was trading traditional markets in 2010 or 2006, it was a different. I was a different person in terms of trading than in 2016. And today, if you compare the past, it's totally different because the best traders I know, they just try to get better, be mindful of their mistakes, and correct course. So it's like an everyday exercise. We'll never stop unless you just quit trading.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks a lot, Georgie. Before you leave, the password is Bull. So run to Zilly and perform the quest. The password is Bull. Thanks a lot for coming in with us. It was really good. I think it was one of the calls that we got more insights, like about trading, about alpha, about where getting the alpha, how to trade. So that was great. Maybe let's do it again in like a few weeks or 2 months. Thanks a lot, and sorry for being a little bit late. So thanks, man.
No problem. Thank you, everyone. Hope it was a good time you guys spent here. Um, I'm around the server, so if you have any questions, just ping me. And great work you guys are doing. Hoping that we get some really, really good returns in the near future with Zaro launch. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man. See ya.